Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the YouTube channel grecochess, the channel of chess. I'm your host. My name is Harilos Enesiris, and we're continuing playing against the chess.com bots. And let's summarize what has happened in the past before we start today's game. If you go to chess.com and you put play and then bots, you'll find the various bots. We started with all the beginner bots that we have defeated 30 games, 15, two with each of them, with each of the 15 ones. 30 wins, no draws, no losses. Then went to the intermediates, but we stumbled. Most of the games we won, but we had a few draws and losses, but we overcame. And now it's time to play with a bot called Ali from Indonesia. In the previous video, we defeated Ali with the white pieces, and now I'm playing with the black, and Ali has a white. And Ali start by saying, hello, I hope you are ready to play. And yes, Ali, I'm ready. And let's see what's going to happen. And Ali starts with the English opening. What do you call C4? It says here English opening. And usually there are two popular replies, either the symmetric pawn to C5 or the pawn to E5. I prefer pawn to E5 to have better control of the center. Knight goes to C3. How can I reply? Ali develops, I develop. Knight to F6. Also better control of the square D5. Knight goes to F3 and attacks my pawn on E5. I'm not going to place my knight on C6 to defend it and develop at the same time. Pawn goes to G3 and Ali is thinking perhaps of a fianchetto, bishop to G2. What do I need to do? If I push my pawn to D6, my bishop on F8 is blocked. So let's send my bishop to C5. Oh, free pawn. These are a danger. Could there be a danger? The problem is if I take it, in fact, I can take it either with the knight or with the bishop. I'll take it with the bishop if I take it because I don't want to lose the pawn on E5. If I take the bishop, if knight and pawn were not here, queen could go to A4 check and with the fork win the bishop. But now that's not the case. I'm going to win the pawn. Still play this kind of a gambit because what's happening is that my bishop goes towards the wing and I win the wing pawn. And there are some gambits like the Bengal gambit that depend on this idea. But this is not the case here. Here, what can I do? I can withdraw my bishop to quite a lot of squares. But since I have an extra pawn, why not take the knight on c3 and double Ali's pawns? Not only double, they're going to be isolated double pawns on the c5. That's very good. Of course, Ali has a two bishop advantage. That's quite good. But and now, continue developing. Pawn goes to d6. So my bishop on c8 is liberated. I have better control of e5. What can I do here? If my knight goes to e4, I attack the queen, but the queen can easily defend and attack my knight back. I'm not sure if this is a good idea. And what is a follow-up? I can take on c3, but queen defense. So let's castle. Have an extra pawn. Queen goes to g5. Well, queen, that is not a bishop that would really pin. Now, even if my knight disappears, we just exchange queens. Would I want to exchange queens? Yes, because I'm attacking the pawn on c3. But can the queen do anything to attack my knight on if I placed on e4? Queen can go to d4. I don't think that's such a good idea. So let's start attacking the queen. Let's see what queen is going to do. What's your big idea? Exactly what I was saying. And then if my knight was here, the queen would attack and I would have to move it again. But now that's not the case. Now my knight can go away, can go to g4 and attack the queen again. You're playing well. What am I going to do to turn this around? Well, perhaps play better chess. Do we have a four? No, if I put my pawn on e4, queen takes it. Uh, that I'm going to do now. Let's put the rook on e8, preparing for a potential fork if Ali allows me. If I put my pawn here, queen will move, then I can take the knight, he takes the knight, I open the position. Or maybe I can do something else. Let's first attack the queen and let's have the fork. Where will the queen go, if anywhere? I'm going to take the knight. Anything else I can do? Yes, this pawn is pinned on e2. Nice, thanks, Ali, because you didn't take my knight. So I'm ahead by a piece, a whole piece. And I'm going to withdraw my knight by where? Let's place it to e5 so I can also protect my pawn on f3. No, it's not f3 pawn I was hoping. I wish I could take a pawn. Let's attack the pawn on here. On c4. It's free. I'm going to win the pawn and attack the bishop on f1. I'm already quite a lot of material ahead. Let's take the bishop on f1. And anything that Ali can do. Well, the queen is on f4, but I don't see any protection. Let's take the bishop on f1 and let's see how we with the king. If Ali took with the rook, I would have a wonderful royal fork, as it's called. Now that I'm ahead, can I exchange queens? Not yet. Let's attack. If I attack the pawn on h3, yes, I'm going to attack the pawn on h3. Oh, okay. Exchange queens if that's what you want. Ali, fine. I'm ahead in material quite a lot. You see, I'm ahead by mind if I have that. What? Who needs her? You see, I have one minor piece extra, two knights versus one bishop, and when pawns are concerned, I have 8 versus 6. I'm doing quite well until now. What else do I need to do? Let's place my knight on d3 and attack the bishop on c1. What if I put my rook on e2, protected by the pawn on f3, and attack the bishop on d2? Let's attack the pawn on c3. I got it. I got one extra pawn. Any problem with the bishop? For example, if my king was here on g7, I wouldn't do it because bishop goes to d4, a fork, and I lose my rook. But now that's not the case. Yes, bishop attacks my rook, but my rook can easily go to c2 and attack the bishop on d2. What else can I do now? Send my knight to e5. Protect the pawn on f3 and near the attack. Here we have a problem. My knight on d3 is attacked by the rook on d1, but each knight protects the other one. So I'm going to send my my rook to a2 to attack the pawn on a3. I really wish that my real life opponents with ratings about 1400 would play like that, giving me too many things. Fortunately, that's not the case. I have to struggle and occasionally even lose from players with ratings in the 1400. Now, rook from b1 attacks on b7. I don't want, it's not only the pawn will be lost, but then the pawn on c7 is attacked. The bishop could come in and I'd rather postpone. Oh, same story. Attacking my pawn on c7. Winning the pawn on a3. Here we are. Going to protect the pawn, goes to c5. And now winning the pawn on a3. Any problem with the bishop doing anything? No. What I would like to do, if possible, is place my other knight on g4, the rook on a2, and attack the pawn on f2, but for now that's not possible. But since the rook protects also the knight, I can send my other knight to g4 and see if I can win this wonderful pawn. Or let's protect the knight with my pawn, so then the rook can go to a2 and have this wonderful triple attack. Let's take the bishop. Now, what can I do? I could even check from f2, but then so what? I'm going to send my rook to a2, the second rank. If my rook goes to g2 for a check, king can go to either h2 or f2, and then there's a so what, as they say. No, let's attack the pawn on e3. Win it. I lost a pawn, okay. So Frederick had lost much more than that. But now my rook on d3 is not in a nice shape. Here's what we're going to do. Since I'm getting material, buy quite a lot. One piece and 4 pawns. Have the extra knight and 7 versus 3 pawns. Let's exchange rooks. Oh, I see what you're up to. Good. But you didn't even exchange the rooks. You just gave me the rook for free. Thanks. Is there any background problem? Not that I can see, because I have this h7 plus my rook is of course on a8. Let's continue. Can we promote my pawn? Goes to f2. Win the rook. What can I do? Put my rook on d2. I was thinking to put the rook on f3, and if it's taken, then this promotes. But I have better things like that. Now we're near the end. Have too much extra material. Extra pawn, thanks. Winning whatever. Make sure no stalemate. Don't get any big ideas. Too late. I already got them. Check. Now make sure no stalemate. By the way, the previous video, I need to confess something. When I was analyzing the review, at some point, I was afraid of a stalemate, but I forgot that I was checking the opponent. So the possibility was not a stalemate, but a checkmate for me. That did not happen at time. Now we're going to promote pawn to f1 with the check. Now we're very near. Do we have mate in 1? I don't think so, but I think we have mate in 2. Rook goes to g2 check. And queen to h1 mate. So we won Ali, both white and black, quite easily, mostly because Ali played very poorly. I still remember the other bot, I think it's Unverit's name, that gave me such a tough time, especially when playing with black. But let's go to the review now and see what happened. Thank you for teaching me something. Can we play again? Well, I played with you twice, both with white and with black, and now it's turn for the next bot in the next video. But let's go to the review. 81.3 for me, 74.9 for Ali. I played as if my rating was 1900, and supposedly Ali played with 1750, and Ali no blunder, even when Ali was giving one free piece after another. So according to the computer, I have one great move, 4 book moves each of us, best 18 versus 16 for me, excellent 21 versus 15 for me, good 3 versus 2 for me. And I had no inaccuracies, mistakes, misses, or blunders. And Ali had 5 inaccuracies and 2 mistakes. I don't trust this table too much. I think that Ali did not play so well. I wish my 1400 opponents would play like that. In fact, I wish even if my 1750 opponents played like that and gave me so many free pieces, I would have a wonderful, brilliant moves against 1750 players. That's why I don't trust this table too much. But let's go to the move by move review. This is usually uh, it's more accurate. This I trust it more. And let's see how did the game start. English opening clearly. English opening book until now. Yes. Until now we are playing book moves. Bishop goes to c5, so it doesn't, it's not blocked. So then I can move my pawn to d6 without blocking the bishop on uh, c5. And now we finish the book moves and pawn to b4. Mistake. I think it's more than mistake, it's a blunder. Give me a pawn for free. This move left the pawn hanging. It is a trap in the sense if I take the pawn with my knight, then the white knight on f3 can take on e5 and the winner central pawn for a wing pawn, but it's only a trap, it's not really that good. Well, there are openings like the Benko Gambit or the Evans Gambit that depend on sacrificing wing pawns for faster development. I don't think this is a case. My bishop takes, yes, to capture the free pawn, and not only that, the correct way. Another mistake. Exactly, you have a chance. You see the comment before. You had got a chance to force isolated double pawns. I said this during the game, and that's exactly what happened. That's why it's great. That is my only great move. Okay. And you see that now my advantage is already 2.4. Computer wants me to castle earlier. I want to give more space to my c8 bishop. Now I'm castling, yes, the best move. Oh, let's go slower. I'm afraid I clicked the button twice. Queen to g5, decent move. They had a better one. What? Yes, put the bishop to g2 and fianchetto the bishop and be ready to castle. This is the best move. You kick the opponent's piece from that square. I was thinking to put the knight on e4 and have either thinking either exchange the queens in my head or protect the queen. It's attacked by the knight, but then the queen could go to d3 and I would have once again to think what to do with my knight. Yes, to safety. Not the best move, but okay, excellent move. Completed 10 moves now. I'm already ahead by 3.1. It goes here. Rook goes here. Oh, well, the computer would rather have my queen play exactly the same role, meaning support the e5 pawn as it goes to e4 for a fork. Now able to win material for fork. Yes, I got it. And I got the knight on f3. This will win a pawn, but this is really a blunder. I mean, you had a chance to get back the knight, opened your h file for your rook, and what did you do? Nothing. It's not just inaccuracy. I'm already up by 6.51. So from 4.09, I'm up to 6.51. That is much more than inaccuracy. Of course, I save my knight. Maybe at the other score would be better. Rook to d1, yes. My bishop to this, good. 15 moves continued. I'm ahead by 6.41. Yeah. Of course, I'm winning more and more. In fact, I'm changing here. Clearing after yes, not with the rook. At least Ali avoided the blunder because if Ali took back with the rook, knight goes to d3 and it's a royal fork. Queen. Of course, exchange. Your material up and simplifying the position is good for you. Thanks. Not only that, doubling the f pawns. Now I'm in the attack. Yes, trying to win as much material as possible. You see, I have best moves or excellent at least. Computer would rather have my knight go to g4, but if rook takes on b7, they attack both the a7 and the c7 pawns. e7 because protected by the bishop. And little by little, Ali will start attacking. Still, I'll be ahead, but not by that much. That's why I thought it was better to save the b pawn. Now I'm saving a c. Oh, this I didn't see it. Should have taken the rook with my knight. I was too much concentrated on not losing any pawn. This really was a big mistake for me, at least a miss. Computer says it's only good. I have a second chance to take the rook. I miss it. I didn't see it. I didn't see it. But I'm so much ahead, doesn't matter. Here's the best move. Continue my attacks. Trying to win one pawn after another. Here I lost a pawn. Yes, I got it. Let's see here. Let's see, why does the computer think that king going to h2 is the best and not taking back my rook? Ah, yes, because then pawn goes to f2 and promotes to a queen and wins the rook and promotes the queen. That's why. So believe it or not, that was not a blunder as I thought, but it was a necessity. Minimize damage. Instead of losing the rook and allow me to promote to a queen, it only loses the rook. Near promotion. Yes, I'm winning one pawn after another. The M starts going in. When did the M start going in? Quite a few moves. How come I never saw it? So here after move 37, M7 says a computer will take me 7 moves. How many did it take me? 9. Not that bad. Or 10. No, 10 moves, okay. M6. Let's see this better how it goes. M6. M5. M4. Still, I was so much focused on winning the pose, I didn't see. I had M3 now. Had a fast mate. M2. He saw it. M1. M1 again. I had mate in 1. How could I mate? Ah, yes, if queen went to g2, it was a mate. The king cannot go anywhere. So I delayed it one more move. But in any case, I beat Ali. I defeated Ali. I have defeated Ali with white and black pieces. Let's go and look at the bots, what's happening. I only had issues with 2 of the bots, and no issues with the beginner bots. With the intermediate, I had issues with Emir from Turkey, and I think it was with Wilson. I had some issues. Yes, with Wilson, I had some issues. But all the other boats I was clean. And now the next one is Mateo from Argentina. Yes, 1400 again with the white. And this is going to be the next bot I'm going to face. And assuming I can defeat Mateo, I have completed all the intermediate bots. But in the meantime, there's going to be one more puzzle rush in the next video. And we'll keep you informed of what's happening. No changes in the Greco chess. Once again, 2 games from completing the tournament with Maxim Govorucha and Barak 7, the 2 players fighting to the end. Round number 2 for Moonlight Underwater. This Friday, round number 2 in the Queen's Amateur Team Tournament, Queen's Chess Club. This is what we're going to cover the day after that. For now, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Thanks, viewers, subscribers, the likes, the comments. And if you have not subscribed, you may consider clicking the subscribe button. If you like what you see or if you have any remarks to make, please write in the comments. This is grecochess. I'm your host, Karela Senesiris, and for now, it's a goodbye.